Whoa, hold up, because nobody saw this coming. Marcus Johnson here, coming at you live from the Blue and Silver Nation, and today, things are on fire. A series of news just dropped that could completely change the course of our Detroit Lions. And I'm gonna be straight with you. This isn't just about what's happening on the field, it's about rivalry, the franchise's future, and even some heartbreaking decisions. With every passing minute, the pressure is building in Detroit. Is this the year we finally become true giants, or are there some nasty surprises in store? But before we dive into this red-hot news about our Lions, let me ask for the usual favor. We are on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers right here on the channel. If you bleed Honolulu Blue, hit that subscribe button now, ring the bell, and come be a part of this brotherhood that is pure Motor City roar. Listen up, diehard fans. This one is going to light a fire under the NFC North. Dan Campbell just went on the record about Ben Johnson, and he did not hold back. Our former offensive coordinator, who left us for the Bears, is now a direct rival, and that has stirred up the pride of the entire Motor City Lions. When Campbell was asked about facing Johnson, he shot back without hesitation. "We are out for blood." Can you feel the weight of that phrase? This isn't just football, it's divisional warfare, it's pride. It's about showing that the blue and silver jersey doesn't bow down to anyone. And I'm telling you, the fan base is buzzing, with forums, groups, and even the local bars in Detroit talking about nothing else. Some people are saying that Johnson jumped ship, and that this is going to motivate our squad even more because nobody wants to see their former partner in crime shine in Chicago. The most interesting detail is that Campbell made it clear he's still friends with Johnson off the field, but when it's game time, it's every man for himself, and he's made that rivalry crystal clear. You know what this shows? That Campbell isn't just that loud, table-pounding motivational coach, he's taking on the role of a true general, ready for any battle, without fearing the past. And let's be real, the NBC Sports ranking putting him in the top 10 coaches in the league proves he's got national respect. Now, the real tension is going to be in those head-to-head matchups. Just imagine a packed Ford Field, Campbell and Johnson face-to-face, knowing that only one of them walks away victorious. If we lose, it's ammunition for the critics, but if we win, it's going to be a huge message. This is Detroit toughness, brother, no matter who's on the other side. You only get this analysis here because a lot of journalists are just glossing over it, but I'm telling you, Campbell is sending a warning to the Bears, to our division rivals, and even to his own players, that no one is bigger than the team. That phrase, "if I've done my job right, they won't miss me," is practically a slap in the face, showing that he believes in the system, not individual names. And if there's one thing that drives this squad, it's that blue-collar grit, that working-class city strength that never backs down. Stay tuned because this feud has only just begun, and what's coming next could be even more explosive, with some major roster shakeups on the table. Hold on to your hats because this is going to be super divisive. The controversial Mike Valenti, that radio host who loves to poke the fan base, said he'd be willing to trade Brian Branch to the Bengals for Trey Hendrickson. Yes, you heard that right. Our young defensive back, one of the most beloved prospects on defense, put on the table as trade bait. His argument is that few players are untouchable. He named Penei Sewell, Hutchinson, and the quarterback as off limits. But Branch, according to him, is just an asset. And then he went even further, saying he doesn't get attached to names, that players are commodities, and he even dropped the provocative line, "I'd trade my own mother for a Super Bowl." Can you believe that? The folks in the Roar of the D forums exploded with anger, calling Valenti crazy and a sellout, because Branch won over the fans with his fierce blood-in-your-eyes style, a style that represents Detroit toughness. But looking at it coldly, Hendrickson is a monster. He led the league in sacks last year, and having him on the other side of Hutchinson would be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Technically, the analysis makes sense, but emotionally, it's a stab in the heart of the Blue and Silver Nation. I, Marcus, am telling you, I don't know if it's worth giving up a young talent who could be a cornerstone for years, but I also know that the Super Bowl window doesn't stay open forever. And if this trade were to happen, we would have to pay a steep price, not only in Branch, but probably in draft picks too, and that's when things start to get dangerous. Brad Holmes, our GM, has already shown that he prefers to build from the draft, so he would hardly take a risk like this. But it raises the question, how far would you go to see the Lions lift the Lombardi Trophy? Valenti thinks the fans are too emotional and that the front office isn't all in, that they'd rather be a cute team that ESPN talks about instead of tearing up the future to win now. This gets in our heads because it directly touches on our fear of being eternal bridesmaids. This analysis is exclusive because a lot of people just dismiss the idea without thinking. But I'm telling you, it's a legitimate discussion that exposes the Lions' dilemma of thinking about today or tomorrow. And if you think that was heavy, just wait for the next news, because it involves the most coveted position in any franchise and could completely change the future of our Motor City. You know what just happened? The Colts just made a decision. Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback, and Anthony Richardson has been sidelined. This opens up a huge window of opportunity for our Lions, because Richardson automatically becomes a trade target. And guess which team was named as the ideal destination? Yep, Detroit. A lot of people might think, oh, but we already have Jared Goff. And that's true, he's here, he's solid, and he's delivering results. But let's be honest, Goff is already 30, and everyone knows he's closer to the end than the beginning. Meanwhile, our division rivals already have their young QBs ready for the future. The Bears with Caleb Williams, the Packers with Jordan Love, and the Vikings betting on J.J. McCarthy. And what about us? We're depending on Goff without any real impactful young piece stashed away. Hendon Hooker hasn't shown anything exciting, Kyle Allen is just a run-of-the-mill backup, and that leaves Detroit vulnerable in the long term. Richardson, on the other hand, is that typical diamond in the rough. Absurd athleticism, a strong arm, and mobility that reminds you of the great dual threats in the league. The problem has always been a lack of development, not talent. If we get him now for a much lower price than he would have cost in the draft and have him learn for 2 years in Goff's shadow, then we're setting up a succession plan worthy of a true contender. And think about it. Imagine an offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Gibbs, and a mobile QB who can open up the entire playbook. It would be almost impossible to stop. The fan base has already started heavily discussing this in the forums, with some saying it's not worth the risk because he could be a bust, and others arguing that without taking risks, we'll never get out of mediocrity. I, personally, think this could be the smartest move Holmes could make, because it doesn't compromise the present and secures the future. It's the kind of move only teams that really want to stay on top make. Now, of course, it all depends on the price. If the Colts want too much in return, forget about it. But if it comes at a bargain, my friend, then we have a golden chance to prepare for the next decade of Honolulu Blue pride. And I'll say this, if this conversation has already stirred up emotions, hold on, because the next news involves a guy who won everyone's heart, but who might be living his final days on the roster. Man, this was tough to swallow. All signs point to Tom Kennedy, the Warrior who held on for 7 seasons on the Lions roster, potentially reaching the end of the line in Detroit. Insider Colton Pouncey is reporting that the team is likely to keep only 5 wide receivers on the final roster, and in that scenario, there's no room for Kennedy. It's hard to say this because he's become a fan favorite, that guy who was never a star but always gave his all and represented the Motor City spirit. He spent more years on the practice squad than on the field, but when he got the chance, he gave maximum effort. But the NFL is cruel. There's no room for nostalgia. The reality today is that we have Amon-Ra St. Brown as the absolute go-to guy, Jameson Williams entering his breakout phase, reliable Khalif Raymond, and even a rookie like Isaac Tosley surprising everyone in training camp. Not to mention that names like Ronnie Bell and Jackson Meeks are also stepping up their production. So, where does Kennedy fit in? The cold analysis shows that even if he survives the cut, he would hardly get any targets in the offense. Now, what keeps this debate alive is precisely his relationship with the fan base. The guy came from professional lacrosse. No one thought he'd make it, and he ended up becoming a symbol of persistence. ESPN has already told his story, and people bought into that underdog narrative. If it were a popular vote, he'd probably stay. But as we know, roster decisions are based on performance and tactical fit. And here's the exclusive I'm bringing you. This isn't just about numbers. It's about sending a clear message to the locker room that this team is in contender mode, with no room for sentimentality. The FOMO here is real. If you don't follow along until the final cut, you might miss the farewell of one of the most beloved guys in the Blue and Silver Nation. There are people on the forums swearing that if Kennedy is cut, he'll be called back in case of an injury because he always finds a way back. I, Marcus, confess that part of me wants to see him in the uniform again, but another part understands that it's time to really turn a new page. Either way, the emotional impact is huge, and it's going to tug at the heartstrings of anyone who's followed the team for years. And get ready, because in the conclusion, I'm going to put all these pieces together, from Campbell facing off with Johnson to the Kennedy drama, to show why this moment is a true turning point for the Lions. Hey, wait. Look at how everything connects. Campbell taking charge against Johnson, the serious talk about a potential branch trade, the chance to bring in Richardson to shape the future, and the drama with Kennedy, who might be saying goodbye after 7 years. This isn't just any week, it's a snapshot of the most decisive moment of the Campbell era. The question that remains is, are we going to be eternal almosts, or are we finally going to embrace the Motor City Roar legacy? Drop your opinion in the comments, because this is the home of the true Blue and Silver Nation. The next chapter is going to be huge.